Hey guys, what's going on? It's your boy MKS here, back at you with another video. I'm using a different scenery instead of the usual one. So, anywho, hope you like it. I've decided to try a different style this time, standing up instead. See how it goes. Maybe my voice will project a bit better, because I used to do it once I actually had a job ages ago, believe it or not. And I've had a couple of jobs. They didn't last very long, but this only lasted a couple of weeks. But I was actually trying to do sales, and I was in telesales, and they used to make us stand up, and they said it should project more voice into your lungs or whatever. So I don't know if it's going to work, but I'll give it a best shot. I don't know if this will last, but try to make sure I don't get bad back. So I've put something underneath the laptop to lift it up. But anyway, I'll leave that. I won't tell you what it is. I'll leave it to your imagination. But anyway, this list is really to inspire mainly people with dyslexia, and I hope to share it, and I hope it will be shared with dyslexics around the world, from Asia and Africa and places like that. So I really hope someone out there will be inspired by this list, especially children and people with low self-esteem, or even people from Asia and Africa who don't believe that dyslexic people can achieve, or if they don't do well in school. This list of famous people, which I found on the internet mainly, I think pretty much found it mostly on the internet, the world of knowledge with Google and all that. But so I hope, as I say, I hope it will show some people that what dyslexic people can do. Anyway, I hope I'm being clear. Morning, John. It's about just after midnight now here in the UK. For anyone who's watching internationally, yeah, this is a list of famous dyslexics. There's replying to John Bobbitt for anyone who's watching. Anyway, so I'm going to try and get on with this list because the intro was a couple of minutes long. So, as I say, the reason why I'm doing this is to try to inspire fellow dyslexics, and I have these weird things with patterns. I mean, it's technically, I suppose it's Saturday, so because I was a bit late getting a chance to upload this video, but sorry, lost my train of thought. Yeah, so because I was thinking like famous Friday, so I thought I'd make a list of famous dyslexic people. But anyway, so hopefully someone out there will enjoy it. But not today, John. Maybe another time. But okay, maybe I will do one another time. I don't really. It's not really that interesting what I do in a week. I just go to the library and use Facebook. So. A bit bossy of you. Anyway, I planned this list, so I'm gonna. Oh, that's not very nice. Anyway, so hopefully someone out there, as I say, will enjoy it. But I'm going to get on with the list, and this is point 1 to 10 of famous dyslexic people. I'm going to do part 2, all being well, and then part 3. So I'm going to the first one I'm going to choose. There's loads of dyslexic people who are even like billionaires. So hopefully that would inspire children and all that. Like when I was at school, if I didn't have much confidence, if I heard about famous dyslexics, I think that other people would have, like my peers, my classmates might have been like, I might be more confident basically. And so I hope it will help a lot of people to be inspired. Yeah, so first person on the list is, again, I was going to say, sorry, there's been lots of people on who have been described as being dyslexic or said to be dyslexic, but there's no evidence for this, whether they're dyslexic, like even Bill Gates or people like that, or Elon Musk. But I'm only going on people who, as far as I'm aware, have said they're dyslexic, either in interviews or whatever. And I'm also going to hopefully try and, because I say I keep talking about like it's Black History as well, and I call it Black History and Empowerment. So I'm going to try and think of a list of 30 famous Black people, which I hope will inspire Black people around the world, especially again from Africa and places like that. And I also, and including Aborigines and people like that. But I might have to Google that to find a bit more information. Maybe I'll do that next Friday. I know that technically it'll be November, so, but anyway, just because I didn't quite get around to doing it. But Anyway, this video is going to be really long, so I'm going to get on with the list. The first one on my list is so I'm not going to include people who are both black and dyslexic, because that's going to be for another list, which I'm hoping to do a specific list on people who are both black and dyslexic as well. So anyway, apparently recently Jennifer Aniston is one of the celebrities, and there's been quite a few who's come out recently and said she's dyslexic. I think she's been interviewed a few times talking about what it was like growing up being dyslexic. So that's the first person on the list. I'm sure most people have heard of Jennifer Aniston, but if you haven't, she was in Friends. You can always Google for anyone in the world who might not have heard of that. Hopefully you'll find out. Anyone's got Google can see further lists, but I thought I'd do my own, because I know one or two people have done videos like this before, or there's loads of lists on Google about famous dyslexics and things like that. But anyway, so my first famous dyslexic I'm going to say is Jennifer Aniston. Second one, most people have heard when they've looked at famous dyslexic. One of the biggest names that comes up is Richard Branson, who often talked about being dyslexic to try and inspire other people with dyslexia. He's, for anyone who might not have known, as some people might say, you're probably living under a rock if you haven't heard of Richard Branson, but he's the founder of, and I think he's still the CEO of Virgin Enterprise, a British company, but it's really global, like many companies. So he's really built a brand. I think his parents were quite wealthy before he started, so he had a little bit of help along the way, but he's built a really big, successful brand. So my second one is Richard Branson. Third, I'm going to say Theo Pathetis, who is an entrepreneur and a dragon on the I think he's come back to it. He left the show and I think he's come back, but there's a dragon on the British business show, Dragon's Den. He's an investor. I've heard some people say Alan Sugar is dyslexic, but he's not said he's dyslexic, but these are people who have said they're dyslexic. Theo Pathetis is another one. He's a successful business person. Apparently he puts a lot of his success down to actually being dyslexic, just like Richard Branson and many others do. The fourth one is Henry Fons, I think his name is. Sorry, Henry Winkler, who used to be the Fonz in Happy Days, an American sitcom. Funny thing is, when I was at college, or sixth form college, when I was 16, someone used to say I looked like, I reminded them of the Fonz when I wore my leather jacket, and I think it's quite strange because they're both dyslexic as well. So I didn't know he was dyslexic until after that, but when I found out, I thought that was quite interesting. But yeah, he's listed as one of the famous dyslexics. He's even written books about dyslexia. So again, he's another person who's come out and said he's dyslexic, and school was really difficult for him, but he's managed to do really well. And then I'm going to talk about, hopefully all being well, some organisations which do things which bring together the famous dyslexics or semi-famous dyslexics, or people successful in their field, and they talk about their dyslexia and things like that. So I'm going to try and talk about those possibly a bit later. But I'll talk about some of the things you can Google to find out more information anyway. Trying to remember my list because I have to know how to count. So I think the fourth one was Henry Winkler from the Fonz from Happy Days. Fifth one I'll say is I'm going to say Duncan Bannatyne, who's a Glaswegian entrepreneur. Again, he used to be on the Dragon's Den in the UK, but he's since left the show. He's a serial entrepreneur. He started off, I think his first ever business was the ice cream. He ran his own ice cream trucks. He had his own ice cream trucks in Glasgow, and back then they used to fight each other for territory. So he had to be able to handle himself, but he came up from quite a poor family, just like Theo Pathetis, and he's also got dyslexia. But he's managed to turn his life around, and he made lots of money from care homes and his own gyms and things like that. So again, you can always Google a lot of these about these people. I think that was 5. 6. Another guy who recently said dyslexic, who was on the Dragon's Den, is Peter Jones, successful entrepreneur, also panelist on the Dragon's Den, who invests in businesses and things like that. So that was 6. Sorry, I have to learn to count, make sure I can count them right. So that's 6 of them, and the American equivalent of Dragon's Den, which is the Shark Tank, has about 3 dyslexics. I'm going to cover some of them a bit. One of them's an African American, so I'm going to cover him in hopefully another list, all being well. But one for the women, I'll say, is Barbara Corcoran, who can inspire dyslexic girls. And she talked about her struggles being dyslexic, like when she was at school, how difficult it was. And she's done really well with her business. She was, a lot of people doubted her, but as many business people had to push through people who doubted them, and she's done really well, built some great businesses and all that. She's an investor, really inspirational for dyslexic women. I'm sure. Hopefully, you can inspire many other dyslexic people as well. So this is rather embarrassing. I can't count. So I said Jennifer Aniston was number 1, Richard Branson 2nd, Theo Pathetis 3rd, Henry Winkler 4th. Again, he's written a book about dyslexia. 5th, I think, was Duncan Bannatyne. 6th was Barbara Corcoran. Please forgive me if I get this list a bit wrong. 7, I'm going to say Kevin O'Leary, aka Mr. Wonderful, on the American version of Dragon's Den, which is Shark Tank, as I say, and he's actually from Canada, but his family's from Ireland and Lebanon, respectively. Hence the name O'Leary, but known to be quite tough and ruthless and all that. And but he's obviously, as I say, a successful entrepreneur, and he seems to really know his stuff. He's done really well. And again, trying to remember my list. But yeah, so I was thinking of this inspirational story about, I called it 3 dyslexic dragons and 3 dyslexic sharks, which is about the 3 dyslexic people who are on the Dragon's Den and on Shark Tank, who I think could be like used to inspire other people. And I thought it could have loads of books and board games and all sorts of things, working with those people if I got the chance to inspire other people. But sorry, forget my list again. Forget the number I was on. I think that was number 7. Sorry, but so 3 more for this first part. Another one who was on the Dragon's Den, I think she's actually from a white woman, but she's from South Africa. And she, as I say, successful businesswoman. Another one about another one to inspire dyslexic girls growing up, I think. And so I think that was the 8th in my list. But yeah, Kelly Hoppen, her name is. Sorry if I forgot to mention her name. So yeah, she's a dyslexic entrepreneur who was on this thing. So I'm just laughing at a comment. She was on being interviewed by Made by Dyslexia, an organisation called Made by Dyslexia. I think is really interesting, but I'm going to talk about that a bit later, hopefully all being well, and some other organisation which might be interesting. So I'm trying to remember this. I think that was number 8. Sorry if I can't count properly. And I'm trying to think of any others, but the poet Philip Schultz, if I pronounce his name right, Philip Schultz, I think his name is. He's a Pulitzer Prize winning poet. I don't know what Pulitzer Prize is, but apparently it's a prestigious award for poetry. And I think my 10th famous dyslexic will be Jack Horner. Jack Horner was someone who really struggled at school, and he really struggled at school. He flunked out college 7 times, and even his own parents gave up on him and everything like that. I think his dad didn't want to see him anymore, talk to him, and he thought he was a failure and all this sort of stuff. And then he was, he managed to prove everyone wrong. Really, he became a paleontologist, which is a real life version of Ross from Friends. But anyway, he managed to be the first person to discover a dinosaur embryo. So a lot of people discovered the fossils of the dinosaurs, but they never discovered he was the first to discover the dinosaur embryo by breaking open the dinosaur egg, and therefore all these schools and colleges in America that didn't want to speak to him suddenly they were interested in they gave him all sorts of awards and things like that, just because he managed to discover this dinosaur egg. And I think his story is really interesting. So you can check a lot of these out on the Dyslexic Advantage. They have a conference. So if you go onto YouTube or even Google, but let's say YouTube, and you type in Dyslexic Advantage conference on talents, I think you'll find some interesting stuff, some interesting stories. They're much more interesting than me. I know I'm just replying to John Bubby. I was trying not to ignore him, but I wanted to get through this list at the same time. So I know John said this list is really boring. It's making him sleep, or he'll sleep well after this and all that sort of stuff. So I apologize. I hope someone out there liked it, and I think a lot of people with dyslexia who really struggle will hopefully find it inspiring. And I hope I counted that list right. So I hope it wasn't too boring. I just wanted to say about famous six. So yeah, so hopefully someone out there liked this list. Apologies if I didn't organize it as well as I would like. But I'm going to make a part 2 soon. I'm going to make another cup of tea, which is very naughty of me. But it's Friday night, kind of / Saturday morning. So I'll make tea and carry on with this list. And John Bobbitt wrote, "Tell us something interesting." I'm sorry, I still want to finish this list as I planned. But sorry you find it boring, but hopefully someone out there will like it anyway. But if you want me to tell you something interesting, you have to let me know what sort of thing. I'm a bit boring, I'm afraid. I don't have anything interesting. Who? I'm only replying to you, John. Do I watch videos about this? Sometimes, yeah, not that. Sometimes I watch scary stories. Sometimes I watch there are a few videos about lists. Lists of scary stories, lists of facts, information. Kind of, yeah. I mean, they elaborate a bit more on the list, but sorry for anyone watching. I'm just replying to joining the live stream. No videos of photo, just talking. I don't know what you mean by that. Yeah, I didn't really do much. I know you. Sorry, I'm just replying to John. He said, "Tell us how your day went or what you did." Just went to the library. Used Facebook in the library. Watched a few stuff on YouTube. A few things on YouTube. Sorry, and thought about making this list. That's about it. Not much. Really. Yeah, I probably shouldn't have done this, but I thought I'd make the list. I thought I'd round up to about 20 minutes. Facebook, just write. I do the same thing. Write lists. I'm afraid that's about it. Write lists of my ideas. I'd like to do some stories, but I have a lot of lists of different ideas I want to work on. Anyway, I'm probably going to wrap this video up. I hope it wasn't too long. Hope someone out there enjoyed it. Hope I can have the right number of people. And I'll come back soon for part 2. So if you want to ask any, excuse me, if you want to ask any questions or anything like that, please feel free to try and answer them in the next video. Peace and love, guys. Hugs.